It's a Tuesday, but it feels like a Monday. My name is Andy Hall. We're going to do some news that you can use to help fight fascism. This is the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. This is a slow start, everyone, but I think we're going to get some gas in the tank right here. When we talk about Fox Nation's Lara Logan suggests theory of evolution is a hoax and funded by, I hope I don't get banned from YouTube for saying this, by Jews, even though I'm reporting on it. And yeah, you may not know her. She was once pretty, but now she's just mean. That was a mean thing to say, Andy. Inappropriate. It wasn't long ago that Lara Logan was a correspondent for CBS News, which is a little hard to believe considering the types of conspiracy theories she's been pushing since she left the network. The latest came during an appearance on the Right Wing podcast, And We Know, during which Logan suggested that the theory of evolution is the result of a wealthy Jewish family paying Charles Darwin to devise an explanation for what gave rise to humanity. I think conspiracy theories are for people who just don't like math or reading books like Why Evolution is True. I'm sure many of you here know of this book. I'm trying to get it so there isn't too much light on it, but this is Why Evolution is True by Jerry Coyne. He runs a blog by the same name, Why Evolution is True. He's a professor. I believe he's over at the University of Chicago. The blog is well worth your time. And if you're looking to read this book, the link to this book, at least on YouTube, is in the description. You want to see the video? I mean, it's gonna break your brain. I've tried to prepare you all for it, but you've been warned. You might lose a couple of brain cells listening to this woman, but let's do this.
So now you've gone from being a farmer who may not be able to farm efficiently, who may not be able to feed as many people, but guess what? He could grow food year after year after year. Because who created seeds that are renewable? Like truly, like who created life that is truly renewable? What is the only thing on earth that is actually renewable? It's life.
Yeah.
And they can, go back to the Big Bang Theory and Darwin. I mean, when I found out, does anyone know who employed Darwin, where Darwinism comes from?
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, look it up. The Rothschilds.
Yeah.
It goes right back to 10 Downing Street.
All the way.
And the same people who employed Darwin. And that's when Darwin, wrote his theory of evolution and so on and so on. And I'm not saying that none of that is true.
Right.
I'm just saying Darwin was hired by someone to come up with a theory, right? Based on evidence. Okay, fine. But, even the people, the scientists, all of the people that can take you back to the Big Bang, what is the one question they can never, ever, ever answer? They can never tell you whatever that was, whether it's the molecules or the energy or, all that stuff. All these scientists like that, that evil, horrible person who's the science advisor to Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, who says there's no such thing as freedom. There's no such, there's randomness, but that's not freedom and blah, blah, blah. There's probability and there's this and there's that.
Right.
You can explain it away any way you like. But how did those things come into being?
Yeah.
And it was a combination of, it's that question of what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? You can't answer that scientifically. You just can't. Because something made that into being, whatever it was.
Oh, wow. So there are so many logical fallacies there. And this is a strategy, by the way. This is a strategy that right-wingers, creationists, the FSB, and for those of you who don't know who the FSB is, that's the KGB, they use. They pretty much gish gallop you. They throw so many crazy assertions at you at once. You're trying to pick up all the craziness as they're flooding you with more craziness. All right, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this story. This is what she says. This is what she's all about here, everyone. Whether you like, of course, she's a fan of Putin. Who would have guessed that, right? Who would have guessed that some lunatic alt-right winger would be a fan of the authoritarian king of the oligarchs, Russian President Vladimir Putin? Whether you like Putin or not, oh man, can I use my lumpy space princess voice? I don't know if I can summon it right now. Whether you like Putin or don't like him, Putin is not willing to be a part of whatever global governing structure is on coming our way, Logan said last week on the Right Wing podcast. Vladimir Putin has been very calculated. He's been very careful. He said for 15 years that he would not tolerate NATO expansion. He is the man standing between us and this new world order, she added, after rambling about Ukrainian biolabs funded by Hunter Biden, which is not a real thing, everyone. The idea of a new world order constructed by Jews is a trope of anti-Semitic rhetoric. We're starting to notice a pattern in Logan's conspiracy theory. Does she sound like another Republican that we know of? Does she sound like that representative from Georgia? Who is that? Marjorie Taylor Greene? The Rothschilds, who Logan says is responsible for the theory of evolution, are a Jewish family that often shows up in anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican from Georgia, famously wrote on Facebook that the Rothschilds funded a space laser that started the California wildfires. I gotta just take a deep breath here because all the craziness is just it's just a lot. Logan and Green share more in common than anti-Semitic comments. Both the Fox Nation host and the bigoted, virulent conspiracy theorist lawmaker have pushed Russian propaganda since Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine last month. Green has blamed Ukraine for the invasion while suggesting the nation's military is rife with Nazis. Green, however, at least made some sort of superficial effort to insist she's not a Putin supporter. Logan made no such effort. Okay, so this is the part in the show where the people who make comments on the YouTube channel who are much smarter than I am, much more clever. I'm going to see what they have to say because there's like 61 comments, and that's a lot of comments. Let's see. Checking out how everyone's doing. Yes, Blazing Wizard Pope. It is Putin trying to implement his world order. It's Putin trying to re-envision himself as a Russian czar from the 19th century, doing great power politics. Of course, one of the problems with Vladimir Putin doing great power politics is that Russia is not a great power. Sure, it has weapons, but it has an economy the size of Italy. We've gone over this many times. But, it is at best a second-rate power. There's evidence in all that for evolution. We just went over the other day. There was a story about scientists in effect creating, I'm going to go bold with this statement, creating life with abiogenesis. The girlfriend helped me out with that pronunciation, believe it or not. We covered that story a little while ago, that yes, scientists from non-life are making replicators, bio-replicators, and if that isn't life, I don't know what is. What's up, Chris Black acting? Tesla Ranger. Scientists don't work for free, and who pays her to say what she's saying? Could it be the FSB? I don't know. Let's see. Checking out what else is going on with the chat. Let's see. Lee Spanner. Conspiracy theories are created by dumb armchair philosophers who are not educated. This is true. And that's why when I pointed out Jerry Coyne's great book, Why Evolution is True, I pointed out that he is a legitimate PhD. He has, a degree from a legitimate institution, and he's a specialist in his field, as against to someone who's like seen a couple of YouTube videos. 420 Atheist, my like button tastes like crack and hookers. I see what you did there. If you do want to hit the like button, everyone, please do. That would be fantastic. So what's up, City Plaza? Good morning, Sean. And Big Zebra, see, this is your mistake right there. And I thought evolution was real, and it is. It is real. It exists. Scientists have seen it in real time. We've seen speciation. All of that stuff. Okay. I'm going to take a break. Drop down a cat video. No ads on this channel, everyone. Funded by you all. I could put on ads. I decide not to. This is my choice. So please donate via PayPal, Venmo. I've been dropping all types of short videos lately, like shorts, like 15 seconds, 17 seconds, basically educational in nature, sometimes comedic. I hope you've been enjoying them. But yes, you can become a YouTube member. You can throw it in the super chat. You can become a patron. Thank you very much. I'm going to take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy this very short cat video. The cat wants to be fed. The cat wants to be fed, everyone. All right, what's our next story? Okay. So yesterday's show was all about, not all about, but we dedicated half the show about Will Smith smacking Chris Rock at the Academy Awards. Well, the Academy Awards, the Academy stated they're doing an investigation into the matter, and they insinuated in their statement that there could be legal repercussions for Will Smith. And Will did an apology on his Instagram. I'm going to read you the apology. Is he sincere? I don't know. Let's see how he was acting immediately after the Oscar ceremony. I made this short video for your just to as an investigative reporter that I am, to see whether or not maybe Will Smith was really sad about the. So there you go. You could tell that he was really broken up after winning the Best Actor award at the Oscars the other day. He was really sad about his horrible about this breach of conduct. So here's his official apology. Violence in all of its forms is poor, and this was totally not written by his publicist or one of his publicist interns. I just want to say this. I'm 100% sure that Will Smith sat down and penned this apology without any lawyer looking over his shoulder. Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. I'd like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, and the attendees and everyone watching around the world. I would like to apologize to the Williams family and my King Richard's family. I deeply regret that my behavior has stained what has been an otherwise gorgeous journey for all of us. I am a work in progress. Sincerely, Will. That seems legitimate, right? That definitely doesn't seem like someone who's in the trouble bubble and trying to dig his way out of a hole. Yeah, he looks so sad. He looks like a person who is really grieving over his hitting someone over a crappy joke, a throwaway joke. See what else is going on. Keep Darwin out of your effing mouth, slaps Lara Logan. I agree with the comedy. And maybe Lara Logan needs to have some kind of intervention. Maybe she needs some kind of intervention about evolution, about science. What's up, Brainbug? Brainbug was on the After Party After Show yesterday. A pleasure to have on the show. And by the way, at 9:30, we do an open room. If you want to be part of the conversation, we do it on the sister channel, the Naked Diner podcast channel. The link is in the description below if you want to be on the channel, if you want to be on the panel. And if you just want to watch, the link to the channel is down there below too. The investigation will reveal nothing. I don't know what the investigation can reveal besides the fact that everyone saw the tape. Those of us who aren't in the States and in Canada saw the entire back and forth between Rock and Will Smith. I showed that video yesterday. It seems to be pretty cut and dry. The real investigation, what I want to know, is that why didn't anyone toss Will Smith out of the effing Oscars? Why didn't security just say, "You're out, you're gone"? What's that Greek? What's that saying? The strong do what they will. The weak suffer what they must. It was an unfortunate truism 3,000 years ago, I think. And it is still, I think that was when it was first penned. Thucydides, I think it was. Okay, let's just get to the next topic. I think I covered everyone in the chat here. Well, imaginary God, when you look at how there's conventional, I would say right now, more than likely it wasn't staged. But, you know, it did look like Rock was kind of leaning into it, right? But that could have just been Chris being Chris. Was it staged? I don't know. I don't think it was staged. I think the evidence is on the fact that it was not staged. All right, so what's the last story, everyone? Oh, man. This is a bit of good news, right? And look, I just talked to my tax person the other day. I don't have a lot of money, but I sold some stock last year because I didn't have a job, right? Because of the apocalypse for most of the year. And so I sold a little bit of stock. And my tax person just said, "Hey, you're going to owe some taxes on that." And it's like, okay, I can accept that. Why can I accept that? Is because we live in a society and because things have to be paid for. Who doesn't pay for their fair share? Could it be American oligarchs? American billionaires? Joe Biden is trying to fix that. Biden targets America's wealthiest with proposed minimum tax on billionaires. Tax on households over $100 million aims to ensure wealthiest Americans no longer pay lower rate than teachers and firefighters. Joe Biden proposed a new tax on America's richest households when he unveiled his latest budget on Monday. The Biden administration wants to impose a 20% minimum tax on households worth more than $100 million. The proposal would raise more than $360 billion over the next decade and would make sure the wealthiest Americans no longer pay a tax rate lower than teachers and firefighters, according to the fact sheet provided by the White House. The plan, called the Billionaire Minimum Income Tax, is the administration's most aggressive move to date to tax the wealthiest Americans. The tax is part of Biden's $5.8 trillion budget proposal for 2023, which also sets aside billions for the police and military, as well as investments in affordable housing, plans to tackle the U.S. supply chain issues, and gun violence. So what's the over-under? What are the chances that the people who hate the concept of a minimum wage, right? People who believe that the free market will take care of low wage workers. Those same people are also against having a minimum tax on billionaires. I think that's the very similar demographics right there, everyone. In 2021 alone, America's more than 700 billionaires saw their wealth increase by $1 trillion. Yet in a typical year, billionaires like these would pay just 8% of their total realized and unrealized income on taxes. A firefighter or teacher can pay double that rate, the White House fact sheet notes. Under the plan, households worth more than $100 million would have to give detailed accounts to the IRS of how their assets have fared over the year. Those who pay less than 20% of the gains would then pay an additional tax that would top their rate up to 20%. The Biden administration calculates the tax would only affect the top 0.01% of American households, those worth over $100 million, and that more than half the revenue would come from households worth more than $100 billion. Look, we like to talk about history. One of my favorite podcasters, what's his name? Mike Duncan. He does the Revolutions podcast. He also did the History of Rome podcast too. Worth your time if you want to just go back and get a detailed podcast about the history of Rome. And in his last episode, Mike Duncan pointed out that one of the reasons why the Roman state failed is because they could not get taxes from its wealthy. The wealthy had rigged the Roman state, the systems of taxation, so that they would never have to pay taxes. And guess what? When the rich don't pay taxes, you cannot have a functioning state. Just something to point out there. The budget also looks set to tackle another issue that some economists have argued contributes to the widening income inequality: share buybacks. In recent years, cash-rich companies including Apple, Alphabet, Meta, and Microsoft have used their funds to buy back huge quantities of their own shares, boosting their share price. Last year, companies in the S&P 500 bought back a record of 882 billion of their shares, and Goldman Sachs estimates that figure will rise up to 1 trillion this year. Tax them, tax them, tax them, make the system work properly. What's wrong with that? I don't think. I know, Tesla Ranger. For our friends in Europe, in European countries, that's probably a pretty ridiculous number, right? How will they survive? Imaginary God, indeed. Well, bad art. Well said. Well said, bad art. Blessed are the rich, for they shall inherit the earth. Well, at least 99% of it, right? Let's see. Dr. Osiris says it's 40% here in the UK. Indeed. All right, everyone. This is the show. That was the show. I hope you had a good time. I'm going to drop a cat video. I'm going to drop down thank you video for patrons, supporters, all you folks. And then I'll hopefully see you at 9:30. No show tomorrow. I'm actually going to be a guest on another person's show. And because between my work on Only Sky, blogging, doing this show, and occasionally going on other people's shows, this was the only time I could schedule it. It's tomorrow. So no show tomorrow. I'm going to be on Nathan Timmel's podcast. It's not live, it's recorded. So I'll drop links when the show comes out. I don't know what we're going to be talking about. It should be a lot of fun. So no show tomorrow, but hopefully I'll see you at 9:30 for the after party after show. Take care, everyone.
These are my 3 cats. 2 of them are extremely intelligent, and the third one is orange.